I should imagine we're live. It says 4 or 5 seconds and counting. Good afternoon, everybody. Slight change of plans because I've got a PC that doesn't want to boot up. So staring at you as well, you've got Andy from Andy Heath is for turning. So today, between the two of us, rather than disappoint you, we're going to run a question and answer session. So you throw the questions at us and we will give you our inspired guess as to what the answers are and throw some questions. So you've got myself and Andy going for it.
Hello there.
Bit of a shame, but I updated the PC this morning. It was all good. Went back and turned it on after I'd had a bite to eat. Didn't want to boot up. So I thought, oh, to hell with you then. Right, I have a question. How do you mount...
Sorry, a crown green bowl on the lathe, yes.
Yeah, I was chasing it up the screen. Just read it. How do you mount a crown green bowl? So you're talking about a bowling ball.
Yep,
bowl.
I've done one. Yep.
Go on then. You're the answer, mate.
What I discovered when I started looking at it was that there's actually a hole that goes through the middle. Generally speaking, from underneath where the numbers are either side, and the hole on one of mine was actually joined together. And I used that as a mounting point, I think, for one of them. The other one I cut in half, and what did I use? I think I used a center, a worm screw center. So I've done a couple of them different ways. It is tricky to hold. If you've got a vacuum chuck, then it will be easy. But I haven't.
I wouldn't
Sorry,
imagine.
This time delay.
Adam's got one either because he's only fairly freshly started, isn't he? I don't know.
A year or so, I think. Yeah. So this chat, there's no chat coming up on StreamYard at all, and the delay is horrendous between the two. But, yeah, Barry Fitch says he uses a donut chuck. That would work.
Yep, that would have been my question, my answer.
Yeah, he says he doesn't have a number on his, so he's going to try a worm screw.
They're very hard to drill because they are lignum vitae, and the problem with lignum vitae and trying to get a screw chuck in is that you can break. And I know of one person that's broken a screw chuck trying to get it in. So just be a little bit wary on that. Don't under-drill it.
Oh, yeah, because I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Okay.
Right. But like any timber, it does vary, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. Yes, I've seen some quite manky bowls. And I've seen others that are hardly any marking at all on them.
But as Barry Fitch says, you can use a donut, make a recess with a Forstner bit, just drill a big hole, and then mount it straight onto into the chuck on your lathe. That works.
Good. Doesn't have a number in mind, so you can try to drive a worm screw. Well, just take it easy. Winding your worm screw in, Adam.
He's trying to do it in 90 minutes, he says.
Yeah, I think that's
going to be his life.
Yeah. So if everyone wants, I shan't say a laugh, but a little bit of entertainment after I've finished, Andy and I have finished today, Adam is doing, or he's programmed a live straight afterwards, and it looks like that's what he's going to do.
Yes, he's got no vacuum chuck, obviously. That's no surprise there. I haven't either.
No, it's an expense that I don't see the necessity to own one at the moment. It would be nice, like a lot of things.
I was going to do it, but I couldn't find the bits I needed. Axminster were advertising them for one of the jet lathes, but they wouldn't have fitted my lathe. And in the end, I just gave up and I thought I'll manage with what I've got. I'm doing quite well anyway, so.
So good
Robbo's in.
afternoon to you all. Nice to see Robbo in from down under. And we've got Chris from down under. And Robert from Hodge in from Canada. So we've got a fair spread around the country, around the world at the moment. Steve Scott, he's Australia, isn't he? So he's trying to remember. And the trouble is, like I was saying to Andy before we started, my brain is not as active and as good as it used to be.
I sometimes seriously doubt that I've got one.
Well, I know that feeling as well.
Flick's Woodturning's in.
There's another Australian.
A quick glance
Hi,
down to
Flick.
see who's here.
Yeah, hi Flick. So you type the questions in, and we will answer the best we can, as we've got as I've got PC problems in the workshop. I'm sitting in the warm indoors today, chatting to you.
Robbo says the time is better now with the change of times.
Oh, of course, yeah. Extra hours made a lot of difference.
Steve Scott is near Portsmouth.
Oh, Steve, Steve, that's right.
Robbo says you are wood turners. You don't have a brain. Laugh out loud.
Well, he's just about right, Robbo. Yeah.
Andrew Wivy Woodshed is in.
Mm-hmm.
And Gerard.
Chat's coming up quicker than mine on.
I'm on
StreamYard.
I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I don't think I've got any chat on StreamYard. No, nothing at all. I don't know quite. Comments. That's right. Yeah. I've got it now.
Comments you will do. You're on private chat.
I was indeed. That was completely empty.
Yeah, because we haven't said anything. So, any questions, guys? Type them in, and between Andy and myself, I think we can have a go at answering. And we've got some brains in the chat as well, so we can use the chat to answer a question if we can't come up with a definitive. So we've got 30 watching us, so like I say, I do apologise to you 30 that you're not experiencing any wood turning today. Something totally out of my control. Would have been nice, it was all geared up for it, and didn't happen. Don't know what the problem is, but the PC just won't boot up. So,
don't you just love them?
Yeah,
you need a 14-year-old. That's what you need.
Yeah.
I'm going to set one working on my stream deck, see if we can get that working, because I can't. I get 2 cameras working and all the rest don't. So, and it's not necessarily the same 2 cameras each time. Really doesn't make life any easier.
Tommy's busy working and listening. We won't distract you too much today then, Tommy. Nothing to stop and watch.
Question from Robbo. Come on then, Keith. How did you get into wood turning?
Well, I'll go first on this one.
Yeah, go on then.
I wanted something to do after I finished work. Being self-employed, I was a plumber, heating engineer for the biggest part of my life. I just wanted something to de-stress after I'd got out the van of an evening. So I had a really old Coronet Elf, if you've ever heard of them. It was a single bar job, 2-inch steel bar, and everything was mounted on that. So you could actually twist the whole lot from one end to the other and wonder why it didn't work very well. So I started on that, did a couple of very small items that I could hold between the sectors, because at the time I didn't know anything about chucks. Got peed off with that, threw that in the back of the workshop, and then decided after a time that I needed to sort something out. So I bought an Axminster AW1200, I think it was. It was the one with the Reeves drive speed control on it. So it was variable speed, but via the Reeves drive. Outgrew that one, bought the polewood, and the rest is history. So about 30 years ago, I started turning to a fashion, got more into it about 18 years ago, and about 15 years ago when I bought the polewood 16 years ago, got into it quite heavily. And the rest is history, and now I'm one of the permanent demonstrators down at our local museum, talking, chatting, demonstrating, doing various bits and pieces. And since lockdown, I've got into YouTube. Over to you, Andy.
Yeah, well, mine goes back actually even further, but not continuously. So, I when I was at college, I was training to be a teacher. I was doing an art course with woodwork as my specialism. So, in fact, effectively, it was making me a woodwork teacher, which is what I became eventually. They had the usual union graduate, isn't it? Lathe, big
Most
heavy
of the
thing.
schools had them, yeah.
Yeah. This was college, but it's the same thing as I had at the first school I worked at, and I had a go at it, thoroughly enjoyed it, and wanted to do more. I then left college, eventually got a job teaching woodwork up at Billingshurst in West Sussex, and I was there for 10 years. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Had a lathe, so I did quite a bit of turning in my own time. And in fact, did evening classes for adults, some of whom did turning as well. So I had to learn as I went along. After that, then the family came along and time got very short, and I didn't do any wood turning to speak of. I had a little lathe in one of my workshops. I had 3 workshops at one time. And I can't even remember what a Clark, I think it was, or something. Can't remember. It was a very strange, horrible little lathe, but it did spin wood. No chucks. They didn't have chucks in those days, so it was all between centres or on face plates. But I got the bug, and I then decided that once I retired, I was going to take up wood turning, which in fact I did something like, I was 67, so about 6-7 years ago. I actually took up wood turning in a more serious manner in the garage. My wife complained about all the shavings treading throughout the house because it was an integral garage, and so I've now got this delightful little workshop that I'm in the garden, which I built about 1.5 years ago, and I love it, absolutely love it. Spend most of my time out here, and as Keith said, the rest is history.
So there's a quick question on here from Clive. When you power on, do you hear a series of beeps? I hear nothing, Clive, so I've no idea. And Adam said, I found that multiple cams connected to a laptop is not a good combination for OBS. Laptops and OBS apparently don't work that well, from what I've been told.
I'm not on a laptop though. I'm on a desktop, so I don't know what it is that's causing the problem. But as I say, I've got a very intelligent 14. No, he's not 16 now. A 16-year-old coming round on Wednesday, and he will sort me out. I'm quite sure.
Good.
Richard RJK Spinning Wood is in.
Yep. Linnykins is in. Daughter.
That's right. Wondering what you're doing, I expect.
I'm wondering why I'm sitting down and not standing there with shavings flying everywhere. So,
yeah.
Barry's in.
Adam says if all your cams are the same model, that can cause problems too. No, they're not. I deliberately went through Amazon and picked different ones. So they're all I've got 8 of them. They're all different. And they all work perfectly in StreamYard, but they will not work through the Stream Deck for some reason. And so I can flip through all of them in StreamYard. No problem at all.
Clive says if there are no beeps and no noise from the fans, well, there is a fan supply, and I do get a half of a screen up with saying that I need to press F12. Pressing F12 does nothing. So I gave up on that. So I've come in, sat in the warm, and or the warm.
We talk our way out of it.
Yeah, baffling ourselves. So I'm not computer literate at all. I've got a mate round the corner that is pretty good, and I've also got Dale on the chat normally, but I won't ring him up lunchtimes because I know he's normally fairly busy, and I don't see why I should mess his lunchtime up and trying to get me sorted out for something that I've done or not done or whatever. So we'll see if we can get it sorted. So going back onto that one, then I'm programmed in for Thursday evening because Scott's working. That's a 7:30 start. If I can get the computer to working, that will be good. If I can't, Andy's going to step in for me and I'll worm for him. So one way or the other, we're covered for Thursday night, but we're not sure yet who it's going to be. So it could be myself or it could be Andy. So at least there's going to be wood turning on.
Get something going, yeah.
Thursday night, yeah.
Gerard, the French turner, has just put a question in. Keith, last night, the Woodturners 360 Club did have Phil Iron's demo with Caddy spoon. How would you build a chuck to hollow out the caddy? Or hollow out the bowl of the spoon, isn't it, basically?
I've missed that one then.
It's just up above...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see it now. Yeah. The trouble with StreamYard is it jumps. Phil Lyons demo with the caddy spoon. Well, you've got... There's two different methods of doing this. I've found in the past that it's easier to make it a two-part caddy spoon, do the actual spoon bowl as one turning and do a small handle as a second turning and drill a hole in the end and glue them in. But the way that I've seen chucks built to hold a spoon is that you put wood jaws on to your 4-jaw chuck, screw them on, but they need to be over the depth of the actual spoon depth so that you can grip more than the spoon or the depth of the bowl plus a bit. You scoop out the chuck with it open a fraction so that as you squeeze it up, it compresses onto the cup. You can turn the bowl that way. I'm not quite sure how you would reverse it to do the bottom of it. There's quite a lot of waste wood going that way. It's designing a chuck, but the basic principle of the chuck is that you need to be able to clamp onto the bowl of the spoon, caddy spoon, and the handle comes out between two of the 4 jaws.
That's what I've seen. Yeah.
I'm not sure how
I've never actually done it, so
no. But like I say, the easiest thing is to turn end grain a cup, part it off so you've got a decent base on it, polish it all up, drill a hole in the side near the top, something like 4 or 5 mil, and turn a small handle between centres like a lace bobbin handle sort of thing, glue that in, and you've got your a lot easier one and a lot less wasted wood, apparently.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Clive's got some more suggestions, but I shan't be going there.
You've lost me completely, Clive. Sorry, mate. It is a PC, not a laptop, so I don't know whether have I got a battery in there. Don't think I have. It's mains powered. I get to toggle that, and you get the okay to function. Okay, yeah, I'll ask someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I can turn wood, but
it's laptops that have the function key, isn't it? The desktops don't tend to. Standard keyboards.
Yeah, I've got all the 12 numbers.
You've got the 12, but you don't have a function key at the bottom to press at the same time. Because on a laptop they use the numbered keys.
Right.
And you press a function button, but the standard keyboard doesn't have that.
What is the function button then? Because I wouldn't know. That's how good I am.
It's labelled FN on a laptop, but you won't find it on a standard keyboard.
Right.
Well, there is one actually. Having said that, if you go to the space bar and 2 to the right, there's an FN on mine. I've just noticed. I've never used it.
There isn't on this one because I'm looking at it.
My function keys have all got blue things next to the F1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And that FN button will bring those features up.
Okay.
Which is speaker volume and start and stop and pause and things like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I give up.
Robbo says he uses a collet chuck, basically as I've said. So good. I'm glad I got that right, Robbo. Question here from Richard: is spalted wood food safe if finished with food safe finish? So the spalting is a fungus, and it's the difference between two different funguses that give the darker differentiation lines, apparently. Whose music's that? Yours?
Yeah, it's my phone. Sorry, not my phone.
Yeah, no.
The house phone.
I could hear music. Yeah, I could hear music in the corner.
Yeah.
Spalting is a fungus. Fungus is the breaking down of the wood. Whether you would feel safe to use that as a food container, a plate, bowl, or something, I think putting food safe finish on it would be irrelevant because you've still got the spalted wood underneath of it, and the spalted wood underneath will be quite a bit softer than the whole complete wood. So
I suppose the only possible way out of that would be to stabilize it.
Stabilize it or encapsulate it in resin.
Resin, yeah.
So
I wouldn't use spalted wood as a food safe item at all.
I wouldn't want to sell it.
No.
Give it away as a decorative piece, yes. So that's that one. And Clive's come back and says there is a tiny battery fixed to the motherboard. It allows the machine to keep track of time and internal settings. Okay, I'll have to believe you on that. The PC is only 7 months old, so I wouldn't have thought that there would be an issue with that, but no, I haven't bumped the power switch on the back because I do get power up through there, but it just doesn't go any further than half a screen and it freezes on screen. So that's why I'm totally stuffed on that one.
Something more complex, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that way and screw it up, because there's still a bit of a guarantee on the machine. Yeah, definitely got the power
So
on. I've tried it several times.
yeah, so back to woodwork.
Mm.
Woodturning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if anybody's tried anything interesting in the way of offset turning, as you were going to be doing some today.
My lathe is a MIDI, and sometimes it vibrates a lot depending on what is on it. Can I bolt it to the worktop to avoid this, as I found it stops when I press on it? Yes, you can bolt it to a worktop. If you want to move it and keep moving it, you can actually clamp it to a worktop as well. If it's on a worktop and it's not fixed down tight, it does echo and bounce and sound like a drum, so you might want to put a piece of underlay or a bit of carpet underneath the feet before you bolt it down. It does quieten it down quite a bit.
And I found in my garage that it does depend what the worktop is fixed to.
Yeah. So if it's freestanding table, bench, worktop, or whatever that's not screwed to the wall, you might find that it's not completely damping it down. It's always an odd one to get to the bottom of, because if you think about wood, depending what size, but if it's some of the fairly heavier lumps of wood, 4-inch diameter and things like that, you can get sapwood one side and heartwood the other side, which will then throw it out of balance, so it will vibrate quite a bit, even though it's totally round.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are all sorts of dodges been tried for making benches more solid, aren't there? I mean, people have chucked bags of ballast and things underneath to sort
Yeah,
of hold the bench down, and or the frame of the lathe, whatever. I, it's getting as much weight into it as you can, really.
it's having a substantial table bench rather than just a bit of 2x1 screwed to the floor and a
Yeah,
couple of brackets on there. If it's on a wooden floor, sometimes you've got to put braces across the floor, across the joists, so that you're picking up the weight onto the joist rather than between the joists. So it's more things to look at than just thinking, oh, I can bolt that to or screw that to the wall and whatever. If the wall's not very strong in the shed and the floor's not very
yes,
strong,
yeah.
everything's going to rattle and vibrate, and everything you put on the shelves is going to gradually fall off to join the floor.
I found it made a huge difference on mine when because it was slightly high for me. It was sitting on a wooden floor of the workshop, and I knew that there was a concrete base which I'd put in just 2 inches below that. So I actually cut holes in the floor, sat the lathe on the concrete underneath, and not only did it make it easier to use because the height was right, but it also steadied it up. It made it much more solid without even fixing it down, just because it's sitting on concrete.
No, I can't quite work that one out, Ben. Uses a flattened hole saw to create perfect spears when turning between centres. I haven't heard of a flattened one. What I have heard of and seen, let's take that off the screen. There's a hole saw, just happen to have one.
Sorry, can't see it. That's it. Yep. Yep.
That is brand new. If you grind the teeth off, both inside and outside, you can make a sharp edge on it. You can then work that around the ball that the spear that you're trying to do, to get yourself a complete sphere. I've seen that done, but you do need a deeper one. Normally, these are only barely an inch deep. This is 1 3/4. This one. Didn't buy it for that. I bought it for something else, and just happened to be behind me in the office here. So
similar thing is using slightly smaller ones that I've done. Is I had an old drill press that was designed for holding an electric drill. That we used to be able to get fitted around the collar and what have you. And the stem of that happens to fit the tool post on the lathe. So I'd mount it into the tool post, and then with the drill spinning and the lathe spinning, and the hole cutter in the drill, bring it down until they touch, and it forms you a very nice sphere. But
good.
it's a bit rough. Needs a lot of cleaning up, but it does actually work. I think I saw somebody at the club do it.
Right.
Our club, and a long time ago. And I thought I've got to have a go at that sometime. And I happened to have the drill stand, and it does actually work. It's a bit Heath Robinson, but it does actually work.
Okay. So Richard is saying he's bolted back to the lathe. He's bolted his to worktop. Works well, and better since I put a washer under one corner to align headstock and tailstock. Cast metal twin twist. Yes. This is why you need a decent bit of worktop, and that's one of the reasons I'm saying put something like underlay or a piece of carpet in there to take up a little bit of slack and also to deaden some of the noise. So,
Ben's suggesting that might be the subject of a future live.
I've got a hole saw being delivered today to try and make one. Okay, what size hole saw have you got, Ben? Not Ben, it's Robert, isn't it? Robert Hodgepodge, yeah. So
Oh yes, Robert. Yeah, Robert H. Yep.
Yeah.
I can't see the comment, but
I've got it on the screen.
Yeah, Brickhouse Craftworks. Oh yeah, Brickhouse Craftworks is in, by the way, Seth.
Right. So we're just chatting away to not ourselves because there's 28 of you in there. What's Barry saying? I've used some diamond coated hole saws for making spears. No teeth is the trick. Yeah, basically that's what I was saying, Barry. You grind the teeth off. Diamond ones. Some of the diamond ones are they have a set to them. Not as much set as what these teeth have got. You can see that they go in, out, in, out, in, out. Some of the diamond ones, they've got about 3 scallops around them, just so that it clears a bit, clears the slurry, because they were for brick or
stone.
tile. Yeah. I know the big stone ones, I've got the 4 and the 6 inch ones. They are completely round, but they are quite thick, quite a heavy diamond on it.
We'll look forward to your live then, Hodge.
Yeah, so Paul Howard does the same with a hole saw for taking the nubs off spears created with his spear jig. Okay. Oh, yeah, I plan to try and make the chuck as well. Let's see how it goes. I'll do a live at some point. Well done, mate. I said 1 7/8 is what he uses. Well, this one is a 3 inch one that I've just held up. So that would be quite a big.
Yeah, I've just bought a 4 1/4 inch one, which I think would be too big.
Yeah.
That's for dust extraction.
Before grinding the teeth off on the CBN, yeah. Yes, you don't want to mess up a CBN on those. if you can get into it, you can actually run the hole saw against a diamond cutting disc in an angle grinder. So you've got one in one hand and one in the other, and you hold them against each other. Yeah, it's not. If you've got a decent grip, most wood turners have. They like to keep hold of their money. It could work. What does Ben say? One thing about it was that the newer ones have hardened teeth and then soft metal. It's yeah.
I don't think you can. Yeah, you can do a lot of sharpening.
The teeth on this specific make are actually hardened down past the end or past the gullet of the tooth. This is a Starrett one. It's HSS bimetal one, so it's not one of the cheap screw fix ones. This is good. I'm getting answers to questions I didn't even know that I needed to ask. Well, that's why we're on here, Chris. That's why we're on here doing this. You know, we can tell you what to spend your money on. I'll put a hole saw in the drill press and try sandpaper isn't strong enough, Hodge. You will just end up cutting discs of sandpaper. I doubt if you can put it in. If you can mount that into your drill press and set it off, and then you can have two hands on an angle grinder. You can grind the outside off, and you should be able to just pick up the inside as well to grind some of that off as well. You only want one hand then, or a pair of hands on the angle grinder, which is far safer than trying to hold
just a bit.
Yeah. So does that put that one to bed? Has everyone? We got fed up on that one. We've all got the answers now.
Looking like it.
Yeah. It's gone quiet all of a sudden.
So I could try my question about offset turning again.
Go on.
See if anybody's done any. Has anybody done anything exciting with offset turning? Keith was going to cover that today with his donut chuck. I did the candlestick, and I'm going to be doing another little bit next time I do a live. I just wondered if anybody else. I know Gerard had a go, and somebody else as well. I can't remember who it was now. My brain's going. But what was people's experiences with offset turning? Yeah,
Robbo's just put this one on. Just going back to the Moroccans. Yeah, though the beads that the Moroccans use are quite small, about 3/4 of an inch. 20 mil diameter maximum, I would think, going down to a lot smaller. So they would be a lot easier to do on a softish wood. Does act?
Yeah, sorry, I just read Benjamin's. Yeah, does accidental offset turning count? Yes, of course it does, Ben.
Yeah,
it's probably more dangerous than doing it, but deliberately.
And Adams did a lattice leaf lid.
Yeah, I tried one of those, Adam, and lost the middle of it. It fell off.
You do need a close-grained, fairly stable wood to do that in. I've seen it done in faux ivory and things like that as an insert. Looks quite effective. Go on, hold it up, mate.
I was going to say, when the camera catches up with me, I'm looking at the YouTube, but I must change it to StreamYard, and then I can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, that was it. It was supposed to have a circle in the middle, and the inside is a series of concentric circles, and they're supposed to overlap, and you can see through it. Well, I nearly got to that, but then lost the middle. What I will be doing sometime is making a finial to fit that. This is the lid to a box, and it would work as a potpourri pot or something similar. It was quite fun to try. I got it from a book, just followed the instructions and got it wrong, but it's quite fun.
Seth's done a little bit of offset turning. Turned for his fire flower challenge video. Can't say that I've seen that one. Or
no, I haven't. I must catch up with some of these. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you were looking at, wasn't it?
That's where I got mine from. Yes, I've got the book here somewhere. Yep. Yeah, he's a very technical man, and it's interesting. But has a very technical. He was a woodwork teacher, in fact, and you can tell that from the way he does things.
So Pete's got to go back to work. Thanks for stopping in, Pete. Go and look after your traffic lights and keep the road safe. And
Don't
we'll
work too hard.
Catch up with you somewhere, mate. So Peter's a member of our clubs, so we know. That's how we know what he does.
Yeah.
I don't think I've missed any questions. If I have, I apologise, but like I say, StreamYard and YouTube, the questions or the replies when they come through, you just go absolutely ballistic at times. Give yourself a year for each project.
Yes, at about 5 goes. I think you're right, Adam. Yes, yeah. I've got 3 of his books, so I've got plenty to work my way through.
I've seen them, but I haven't done them.
No, a lot of them didn't appeal particularly, but that one I thought that looks nice.
Yeah, look who's just crept in. Afternoon, Douglas. Sorry,
Good evening,
late,
Douglas.
Yeah, you haven't missed a lot. We're only chatting today, Douglas.
He's in the corner. No, you can out of the corner.
No corners today. You can sit in the easy chair and watch us and listen to us. We're only chatting. I've got a PC issue and couldn't get onto the workshop PC, so I'm sitting indoors in the warm, in the comfort, chatting to you guys.
We just need you to ask a question. That's all.
Yeah. So come up with a fairly sensible question, Douglas. And you're not trying to drag this out. It's not a Wayne turning. So
no, we don't have to be delayed.
Not attempting the wood turning full circle book yet. Also, David's bring it. Yeah.
No, that was my first venture into his books, but I will be trying some more. Excuse me.
I think now tools are getting better and sharpening systems are getting better, and the only thing that's not getting better is our eyesight. So I think we can put some of that down to dodgy eyesight and shaky hands.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Diving into that. Yeah, Phil Irons is he's got some good reading out there.
He knows his stuff, doesn't he? I missed it last night. I had to go out, unfortunately, but I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, Dave Spring. I mean, he's a master. I'm not quite sure how long it takes him to come up with some of the tree falls in the forest and no one is there. Does it make a sound?
The old ones are the best.
Yeah, not from where I'm sitting, Douglas. Yeah. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of books as well, Adam. I've read them all once or gone through them once, and I think I'm going to start going through them again. That's why I got rid of half a dozen books the other month, because I realised that I'd come up with two of each. I can't read them in
All right,
stereo,
yeah.
so there was no point in keeping
No,
them.
no.
So
It does
they
give you
were,
ideas, though.
yeah, but you can only want the idea once. You don't need
Yes,
it in
yes, that's right.
stereo.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's why I got rid of them, and hopefully they've gone to homes that people are now learning from them.
yeah, yeah. Robbo said he's the same. But it is a lot of the problems, particularly if you. I mean, I've only done 3 lives, so I can't say that. But if you're looking for ideas for lives, then the books are a good way of getting some inspiration and modify it to suit your own needs.
Well, I think it's been said, excuse me, so many times on here. You get 10 turners in the room and ask them to turn something all the same, but they won't be all the same. It'll all be different, but
Yeah.
and there'll all be different techniques they use. It's the end result might look fairly close. A bowl's a bowl's a bowl at the end of the day, but how they get there is a different thing.
Yes.
Baz
Yeah.
has got to
Absolutely.
go and his workshop's calling him. Thanks for
Yep.
stopping by, Baz. We'll catch up with you somewhere else. You enjoy
Bye,
yourself
Barry.
out there.
Fred Gulliver's in.
Yeah, morning, Fred, or afternoon, Fred. Yeah, it's just a chatting session today, mate. I have PC issues, like it didn't want to, so I've come in on the indoor one. Throw a
It was too
question. We'll
too
see
cold,
what we
really,
can
wasn't
answer. Well, it wasn't warm down there. What was that one? Feel about his lathe height preference. No, I don't know the rule of thumb. Should be able. Do you guys? Well, I prefer mine about 2 inches higher than my elbow height, only because I've got a bad back. So it's all personal preference. What I would say, and what I do tell most of my students that I get in, is until you stand at a lathe and you do something, you don't know what height you want. The machines I've got in the workshop, which I teach on, aren't bolted to the bench. So the easiest thing for me is to slide a piece of 4x2 under each end, so I can lift it by 2 inch at a time if I want to. So you can do exactly the same thing. You can find a height that is good for you. But a good rule of thumb is that the center of your spindle is at your elbow when you stand with your elbow down by your side and your elbow bent.
I certainly found that worked with mine. By setting it into the floor, it brought it down to that height, more or less, and I find it really comfortable. But it's a personal thing, isn't it? Everybody likes it slightly different.
It is. So I've had and I suffer from a bad back, so it's easier for me to stand upright than to lean over the top of it. I saw part of that, Douglas. You can make any tools you like, or you can get any tools you like made. The edge retention will be how well the tool is made, whether it's been hardened and tempered and sharpened well to cut. Yes, not too bad. Also look on eBay. eBay have got the Chinese carbide tools on there, handleless. So you could buy just the the shafts and the tips, and put a handle on to suit yourself. You can put yourself on a 4-foot handle if you wanted to give you a little bit more strength, deep hollowing. But as far as I'm concerned, the issue that you've got, Douglas, is that you've only got a small, cheapy old lathe, like you said, a B&Q lathe, that you're not going to get very deep without a lot of chatter and vibration, or actually stuff in the bearings, which won't be very big. Got anything to add on that one, Andy?
No, I haven't really. I don't. I don't do a lot of deep form hollowing, so I haven't got a lot of experience in that.
Hi, Baz. Nice to see you in. Same as
there's a bit of talk from Adam's asking a question about whether he needs to, about OBS and what have you. He's lost me, but I think Hodge has probably dealt with it. I've not scheduled a live before, only popped up live. Does he need to be in the scheduled live when he switches on OBS stream? I don't know.
I don't know anything about OBS. What's that one? That one. Pete. Mike is trying to get hold of you.
Where are you? All right.
I don't know. I found that down the bottom of the list. So,
But no, who Pete? Oh, Pete Twisted Trees.
And is that Mike Walt? I'm just guessing. I don't know. So I've just seen it, so I'll flash it up on the screen.
Don't know. Yes, so Mark, Gentleman Woodturner's in, and Pete Twisted Trees is in. Or Twisted Pete of the Trees.
I haven't seen Pete. But,
he's a bit further up.
I
missed him.
Yeah. Hi, Pete. Like I say, this chat is jumping, and I'm trying to watch and chat, and you don't always see. Is that what I want? If you use StreamYard, you can just be on the StreamYard channel and go to live. While in StreamYard, you would have virtual camera on already. Yeah, what we're doing today, Adam, I've set up a scheduled broadcast on StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard and just cameras into the computer. I'm not using OBS or anything because it's a little bit technical at the moment. So you can set up a stream and go straight in and do exactly what Andy and I are doing today. I'm just in on a small cheapy camera that I've got stuck on top of the monitor on the PC indoors. I've got the same cameras in the workshop, the same as what Andy's got in the workshop, and we just run them straight into the back of a PC rather than into a hub, unless you haven't got enough USBs, and you can change the camera on in StreamYard, and you can have up to, well, I think you can have as many cameras as you like, but you're best to keep to the amount of USB ports that you've got on the back, because they don't like running off the front of a computer because it's less voltage or something, less capabilities. Bit technical for me, but that's all we're doing today. We're both running off of cameras, small cheap cameras, and straight into StreamYard. What's this? Has anyone been watching the Record Power Live demo? It's on tomorrow. It's live. Me using the light silhouetting off. off concentric circles. I haven't seen them so
Yeah, I,
far out.
yeah, I saw Theo a couple of times. I saw him doing the sphere one.
Right.
It was very interesting. Very interesting. Just simply using a single LED light to throw the shadow of what he was turning onto a white card on the bed of his lathe, basically, or just behind the bed of his lathe, and
Okay.
he had circles drawn on that, and he was turning to those circles,
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
watching the
Yeah.
shadow. It was very clever, and it worked. And he was turning a big sphere, something like, I don't know what it was, about 6 inches or something. It was quite a sizable one.
So Adam's saying he's already in OBS.
I can't get OBS to work, so
I wouldn't know where you are, Adam. Sorry, mate, but I would think it would be more or less the same. You've still got, even if you're in OBS, you've still got to fire up StreamYard to get yourself live, haven't you? Can't answer anything better than that. We need to get Dale on, or someone that knows computers that can point us all in the right direction.
Yes, it's all a bit of a mystery to me. All I didn't even know I needed OBS when I first started. I bought the Stream Deck and downloaded the software for it, the Elgato Stream Deck software. And then I was talking to Martin Saban-Smith, who said, "Of course, you've got OBS, haven't you?" No. So I got that on, but I still can't make it work. But hey, I'll get there in the end. I will, or my 14-year-old friend.
So Adam is saying you
don't need StreamYard.
Don't need StreamYard. No idea, mate.
No, I don't know. You look very different without your mask on, Adam. I'll say that when your picture comes up.
I imagine you can go live from OBS, since the important part. That YT key is.
Since you import that YT key, or whatever it is. It's a StreamYard key we import, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, stand still.
It's all very confusing.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick to Woodturning.
I'll go straight from OBS to YouTube.
OBS to YouTube.
Just haven't scheduled a live, that's all. Okay.
Yeah, you schedule it in YouTube, don't you?
Well, I do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts on BDAN?
What?
If you I suppose it's a bit like Les Thorne's multi-purpose BDAN, straight skew, scraper, parting tool, all in one, isn't it? Because you can get different size BDANs.
I don't know it at all.
Well, it's usually square stock and sharpened on two edges, but a lot flatter.
So shallower angle.
Yeah, lots flatter than a skew.
Yeah.
And you can use it to roll a bead.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So someone else doesn't use StreamYard.
Yep.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Steve SK doesn't. He uses something else now, doesn't he? Because then he can stream to two different.
He did restream, didn't he? Because that went to Facebook as well. But he tried something else last week and it didn't work, and he had to go back to restream, I think.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure what that was. I didn't manage to follow that, but it got just one too many for me.
Probably two.
Doesn't say much.
No. Yeah, you've got to remember, most of you guys are a lot younger than Andy and I.
Oh yeah, I'll drink to that.
Restream. Yeah, Steve uses Restream, but he did try something different.
But it didn't work. He had to. It was delayed, wasn't he? His start was delayed because he had to change it back to restring.
Okay. A B-Dan only has one bevel on square stock, basically.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm not arguing with you on that one or question, Robbo, but the last B-Dan I saw was, as I explained, square stock, sharpen both sides. So I don't know. I'll beg to differ, but I'll agree with what you say. Don't know. It's the same as a screwdriver is a screwdriver, but if you've got something to get out of a wall, you use it as a chisel. So the same tool has got many different,
There are variations on.
different name. And Adam's saying, I think Steve Tordell uses OBS. What's that? The relief sign sound useful for boxes and things. Yeah. What I would say on that one, Ben, is that if you've got 3/8 square stock and you're using it as a flattened skew, you're not going to get into very small diameter boxes because the diameter of the box will run past the square of the B-Dan or whatever you want to call it. If you would probably be better off on a skew sliding that in because that's got the weight across it and it's a lot thinner. They're generally speaking 3/16 of an inch to a quarter, and the B-Dans that I've seen are sort of 3/8 and ½ inch. Yes. Yes, this is a new one that Scott's got organised. I don't know whether you've seen it yet, Andy.
No, I haven't. No.
He put a live out last night. 3 makers for 3 forces. What can I say? It doesn't need to be 3 of you. It can be 1, 2, or as many as you like, working in collaboration with each other, or just a single person putting in a single item. It's for the Southampton Veteran Centre, and the thought is that we can make and donate some prizes to make a fairly big, hopefully raffle or even an auction, and raffle them off to help them finance a new workshop, carpentry, woodworking workshop that they're looking at building down there. Now, Scott and I have been involved in this from the inception of the thought, only because we both took a load of stuff down to them. They're an hour and a half down the road from both of us, so we both went down together and took a load of stuff down there, took a load of tools down there, and spent a day with them, showing them how to do a few small things like pens, cord pulls, bottle tops, bottle stoppers, and bits and pieces like that. So yes, I'm going to be involved in it. Anyone on here can get involved in it. You can always just message me, or you can message Scott. It's no good messaging Andy because he ain't got a clue at the moment. He hasn't.
No, I missed it last night. I was out.
He hasn't been there yet. But
I will try and watch it this afternoon.
It's going to be a good one. They need to get something in the region of 5k to build this workshop. They've had local to them radio station do a sponsored bike ride from Southampton to Land's End, I believe, and they've raised just over £1,000 for that, and it was all on static bikes, so it was just to go in the studio and pedal to get and go nowhere. So but they wanted to see a result of their money. So the money that they made, £1,000 they made, was spent on a load of tools. If you go on to the Three Makers for Three Forces YouTube video that Scott put out, you'll see the range of tools that they've got. They bought out apparently an ex-carpentry workshop down the end of the world, and they got good bits for good and at a good price. I don't know any more about it than that, but Woody Turner, one or two of you might have heard of. He's a good wood turner up in the north, up in Nottingham, who does a lot for veterans. He got involved and he bought a lathe down and gave them a lathe, a pen lathe, and got them going on that. And he's just had a month fundraising for them and just sent them £2,500, which is what he made over the month through selling off bits and pieces. So yes, it's something close to Scott and myself. So we're going to definitely have a go at that. We're going to be promoting it a bit more. So if any of you guys want to join up with others, or if you've got ideas for 2, 3, 4, 5-part make, as long as you can get the piece sent to Scott down in West Sussex in the UK, or myself in West Sussex in the UK, we can then work out what we're going to do. We're hoping to have a celebrity come along and either raffle them off or be part of it. We want to make something big out of it, but we need to get a bit more money so that they can get this workshop made. So that's what that's all about.
It's all a good cause, yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's called a Badan. What's that one? I wondered what you were talking about for a moment.
His favourite tool of most turners, yes. French turners, yes.
Yeah, I know you've already spoken to him. I spoke to Scott straight after the broadcast last night, so I know who's on board. And I knew it was going live, but I didn't quite know all the details of it before it went live, because what with Scott working odd hours, he'll sit up and work overnight at times, and then it'll go live and bits and pieces. But we've both been involved in this, and we both want to keep going on this, and we both want to try and give them a workshop that they can be proud of. After they finished and the guys down there know what they're doing and have become more proficient, they then want to teach underprivileged kids as well. So it's not going to be just for the veterans. It's going to be a veteran teaches the youngsters and underprivileged kids.
Ticking all sorts of boxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Scott and I will be going down there, not on a regular basis, but 2 or 3 times a year, spend a day with them and see if we can help them out at all. So Andrew Hall's tomorrow then at 7:30 UK time, Record Power Live. So Alf Keys corrected a mistake. Thank you, Douglas. Yes, they do, a lot of them. And don't get me going on this, but why the hell should we spend and send so much money abroad when we can't even look after those that have fought for our country?
Yeah, yeah.
Why should they sleep on the streets, and the imports that we get, for want of a better word, get put up in hotels and fed and watered and given everything? I don't need to get on my high horse, but it's one that does. It starts me off. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think
No,
we
it's
should
good to be
start
passionate
very
about
low.
these things. It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing at all. So, right, we're coming up to Adam's live time, aren't we? We're okay at the moment.
Yeah.
Done an hour and 10.
So, too bloody right, Keith. That was Douglas.
Yeah. I think it's a worldwide problem, Robbo.
Yeah, we have the same in Australia, vets. Yeah, I think everyone does. But I think what frustrates me, Robbo, is that we give a hell of a lot to third world countries, and we can't afford it. Deficit is bloody fantastic at the moment. Look after your home compatriots first, and then if there's money to spare, send it abroad. There's too many do-gooders out there. Oh, you stood on a leaf. You can't do that. You need to go to the green jail. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, Adam's thing's at 2:30, so we're all right.
Yeah. So that 14:30 is Adam when Adam's doing the live on here. So pop over and see him after we finish moaning and whining and whinging.
Oh, it's very nice of him.
Thank
you, Adam.
We'll be pretty close, Adam. We'll be pretty close. We don't intend. And Hodge is saying same in the US. Yeah. It's the same everywhere. And I think Douglas got it about right. Charity begins at home. Yeah. Didn't start off as a political one, and it's not going to finish as a political one. I'd rather finish it on woodturning. But
yes. So come on then. Where's the question?
I won't be moaning and whining.
I'll keep you to that, Adam. No, there's a lot of good going on as well. A lot of bad stuff, but there's some good going on as well. And I think that the three forces thing that Scott and you're involved in is one of them. It's excellent.
Well, we're both passionate about woodturning, and we're both passionate about teaching. So using both of our passions, we've done that.
Good heavens! Now there's a wood turning question. We've got one from Adam saying, "Where do you find your wood?" and one from Robbo saying, "What is your favourite thing to turn?"
Yeah, let's do Adam first. Where do you find your wood, guys?
Yeah, I get most of mine given to me by just people who know I do wood turning, and I get all sorts of stuff. I mean, it can be bits of old furniture, big mahogany legs off old-fashioned armchairs, and bits of oak legs from tables, and all sorts of all manner of stuff. And then somebody just gave me a lump of mahogany they'd had sitting in their shed for years. It was 300, about a foot wide and about 3 foot long. Not very thick, but it comes in handy. You can make a platter out of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, getting timber. Yes, I do buy it occasionally, but it goes against the grain.
It does.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, it does. Once the tree surgeons and people know that you turn wood, they're reluctant to skip it if it's any good. So quite often you get a question, get an email, get a message, any good to you. If you keep saying no, you get nothing. If you say yes and take it and even chuck it in the skip yourself, you'll always find wood.
Yeah.
And what is your favourite thing to turn?
Yeah, I think mine's fairly simple. The offset candlestick I did was an example of it. It's basically spindle work with some difficulty attached, and the offset was the difficulty in that case. But I mean, really, if I'm honest about it, the favourite thing to turn is the last thing I turned,
Yeah,
because I like doing so many things on the lathe.
I don't think I have specifically a favourite, Robbo. I enjoy a bit of spindle turning. I enjoy a bit of bowl turning. Then I go back to spindle turning. I change mine to suit what I need to do, what demo's coming up. I'll even do pens.
Yep.
Not
Yep.
necessarily my favourite, but it's good practice. It's tool control.
And they're in demand. I can sell them, so that
Yeah.
also helps. So
Yeah.
it's more than just the pleasure of doing it. There's the pleasure of selling it as well, and other people admiring it, which is an important factor.
And if we can sell them, that means we can buy either new kits or new components and
Yeah.
keep the tools topped up. So I don't have a specific best or a favourite. I just enjoy wood turning. My best luck is on Marketplace or through my local club. Yeah, I can agree with that. What is your favourite wood to turn, guys?
You.
I would say you, only
Yeah.
because of the
Every time.
colour.
You and Laburnum as well. Yeah, for the colour.
Yeah. Oak is nice. Oak can be a right pig.
Yes, it
Elm
can
is
be.
nice. It can be elm can be an absolute bitch because it's so coarse. You get a nice bit of ash, bit of olive ash, and it holds together well. It takes a really nice finish, and then it's your favourite piece of wood. But I think overall, you would
Yeah, that would
do
be my
that one.
favourite. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To get my
So yeah,
amiibo.
ash is nice because you can fill the grain as well with an embellishing wax. It's got a nice deep grain pattern, so there's another use for it.
Yeah, it's a two-part wood, really, isn't it? You
Yeah.
can finish it as a nice sanded item, or you can use it as a to give you a decorative finish.
That's right. It can have a very nice grain too. If you just, as you say, the olive ash, but just a bog standard piece of ash can have a very nice grain to it.
Yeah. Offcuts from carpentry shops are quite a good source.
Yes. Window companies. I had a load of sills, sill ends,
Yeah.
6 inches long, 2 inches, 3 inches thick. And great, you can turn all sorts of stuff just as practice pieces, really.
Yeah. Richard, I don't need a soapbox. I can preach from my seat easier. Full of small bits of oak, so peely, hickory, walnut. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've all got those.
Yep.
Yeah. What about COVID? I've never
No,
tried COVID.
can't turn that. No.
Like to see the back of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We all.
Yeah, I listen for chainsaws. I think that is a general consensus of opinion of every wood turner.
Mhm.
Robbo says thank you for the answer. And is acacia okay for fruit bowls? Acacia is beautiful for fruit bowls.
It's one I've never turned.
It is quite a nice wood to turn.
Is it?
Yeah, it is quite a nice wood to turn.
I just don't get given acacia. I suppose that's the problem, really. I'm far too tight to buy it.
Yeah, say Gil used to get some ex-wood merchant occasionally.
Yeah.
It's quite a fast-growing, coarse grain to it, but it turns nice. Not yet tried local boat builder. What I would suggest on that is that if you've got a boat builder, a lot of it will be in mahogany and sapele.
Severely, yeah.
Usually the darker woods for boat builders. What's that one? It's cut into coasters by tree surgeons now. Yeah, if you get a big acacia tree or anything over sort of 9-inch diameter, it makes nice small bowls, and like I say, it does turn nice.
David's popped in to say hi.
Yeah, well, we're still here, David. Thank you for dropping
You may
in.
wonder why we're sitting here chatting, but
Yeah, but it's warmer in here. Pound a coaster from small logs, therefore getting more expensive from what I found. Yeah,
I think things are very different the other side of the pond, aren't they?
yes.
You use timbers that I've never even heard of. Hodge was turning a piece the other night.
Yeah, use what you can get hold of. I don't know that acacias over here, Robbo, are or have allergic reactions to them. I haven't heard of any. Yew is not healthy for Elf. He likes greenwood. Well, greenwood doesn't give off the dust.
Just have the dust, yeah.
Ironically, I can turn yew and laburnum, which are both classed as carcinogenic, but I can't turn olive or walnut because they've both got an oil in them, and the oil spins out as either a vapor or a very fine mist, and it just blocks my sinuses up. So if there's not two of us alike.
No, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
And wood is now getting like bars of gold because there's so many now trying to turning it.
I suppose technically you should always wear a helmet. Yes. I found it very easy to turn. It's a slightly oily timber, lignum vitae. It's got a sort of a waxiness to it, which makes it very pleasant to turn. I didn't find it too hard at all. It was. I've done several bits now. I did a pepper mill. I was given some lignum vitae for my 70th birthday a few years ago, and I turned one of the 100mm pepper mills from it, and it turned beautifully. It really did. Fabulous finish. Really, really lovely. In fact, I used it last night for my dinner. So
I've never heard of lignum vitae, which is what most bowling balls are made of, being what am I looking for? It's not an irritant, as far as I know.
No, I've not heard of that. And I say it's because it's slightly waxy. It's not that dusty either.
It's a funny wood to sand.
It clogs the glass paper a bit.
Yeah, I think on lignum vitae I would use something like an abranet.
Probably be better, yeah.
Knock it out. It doesn't create a dust, but it creates a dust, if you know what I'm saying.
It does clog a bit, yeah. I treated it as somebody else was buying it, so I didn't worry about it.
Yeah. Trees cut down in the autumn, winter, will dry quicker than trees cut down in the spring. In the spring, the sap is rising, so the wood is full of water. In the autumn, the sap is evaporating from the trees, draining from the trees, which is why one of the reasons the leaves fall off, because there's no moisture for them. So it will dry quicker in the winter than it will in the summer.
Yeah, the moisture content is dramatically different.
That's for you, mate.
You ate a pepper grinder? No, I didn't. But it looks so nice. I could almost eat it, but yeah. No,
It
it
drills
cuts
and works like butter.
like butter. It
Yeah.
does cut well. It turns well. It handles well. You know, it's a nice timber to work on. I've got another piece of I've got just sitting in the workshop here, which is something like 7 inches, 8 inches long, and about 4 inches diameter. Which I have to think of something I'm going to make from that, because that was another present last Christmas from the same person. So yeah, it's a smashing timber, and it has a slightly green tint to it if you catch it right.
Yeah, once freshly cut, it's green.
Yeah,
but it
just look at that.
Go brown, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to look absolutely gorgeous when it's turned. The majority of it is the darker colour, just this little bit of sapwood around here, and that I think is going to look absolutely gorgeous. The crack doesn't go very deep, and I'm going to make something nice out of that one day.
Well, there's several little small bowls there, end grain bowls, if necessary. Yeah. The crack probably wouldn't open up on that because it's such a hard wood.
Just lost my headset. That's it. It's back on again.
Yeah. So the crack, I doubt whether would open up on that lignum. You're making a lot of noise in there, mate.
So, I'm trying to pick up a bowling wood. That was all it was.
Yeah.
Just to show I've still got some. quite exhausted me just picking that up.
Yeah.
But, no, they're good fun to turn, but it's holding it, working out how to hold it from when you first start. This one isn't going to have a hole through the middle because it hasn't got the plastic piece in the end here. So that's just going to be hopefully just solid timber.
So the biggest jaws that you've got open, and a live centre on the tailstock, and you can turn the spigot on it then.
Yeah, or a donut chuck.
Or a donut chuck, yeah.
Turn a spigot. There. So everything works back to front on cameras, doesn't it? But you could turn a spigot there quite easily if you've got that gripped in a donut chuck. So.
But I would suggest if you're going to grip the whole of that ball in there, which you will be, you need a slightly bigger recess or tenon on there to grip it with.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
Yeah, a lot of weight, and it's slightly oily.
Yeah, but a decent size. I mean, my donut chuck's a reasonable size, about a 12-inch diameter, and I think that should. And you're not turning it off center.
No,
you're keeping it true to center, so that it swings quite nicely. Was that my turned wooden leg falling off? Yeah, probably was. I do have that problem.
We're going to wind this up now, guys. Thank you all for.
I think that's a good question to finish on.
Stopping with us and bearing with us. Like I say, hopefully I will be running live on Thursday evening. If I'm not, it will be Andy. So there'll be messages on both of the channels as to what's going on. But pop over and see Adam.
Yep.
And
2:30.
Yeah, just about 2 minutes off from that. So, like I say, thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's been really nice chatting. I've enjoyed it.
Made a change. I'm always quite happy to come on here and do a chat rather than spend an hour and a half in the workshop. Sometimes it's in the workshop you don't get chance to answer fully the question. You're too busy in turning, so it's easier to come into home and sit down and take your time and answer it, and you get 2 or 3 people then chatting with you both, and it just works that much easier. And it looks like you've all enjoyed your
that's really nice. Yeah,
from us. Like I say, I'm always happy, and I'm pretty sure Andy will join me as
Yeah,
well if
absolutely.
necessary, so we can have a day indoors rather than spend a day in the workshop. But we're still in the workshop chatting technically.
Yep. And yes, Robbo, I will be careful of my balls. I won't drop them.
Don't want to bruise his balls. Right, guys, I'm off. If you
Yeah.
will head over and see Adam, I will hopefully find you over there in a minute. So I'm going to end it now.
Yep.
So thank you once again, everyone. Thanks, Andy, for
Thanks a lot.
joining me.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. Thank you.